All right, so today we're going to be looking into something pretty creepy. Yeah, it's a case that's been bugging me for a while now.
Okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You know the one?
Smiling killer.
The smiling killer. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, how could I forget?
So just imagine like a crime scene. You know, the kind that makes you feel sick.
Right, yeah.
And then you see it.
The victim is smiling.
Yeah, not like a grimace or anything like that, but a genuine, peaceful smile.
Uh-huh.
It's nightmare fuel, right?
Yeah, totally. It's so unsettling.
And that's just the beginning of this whole thing.
That's the tip of the iceberg, right?
Yeah, we're talking about the case of the killer who left his victims smiling.
It's a mystery, man.
It is, and it's been going on for decades.
Decades, yeah.
Unsolved.
Absolutely.
So for this deep dive,
Right.
we've gone through everything we could find,
All the articles.
all the reports, everything, to really break down this whole mystery for you. You know, you guys have told us that you want to get to the heart of these cases.
The good stuff.
The good stuff, yeah. You want the intriguing stuff.
The stuff that keeps you up at night.
Yeah, exactly, without getting bogged down in all the boring details.
Exactly.
So that's what we're doing.
That's our mission.
It is. We're cutting through all the noise.
Right to the core.
Yeah, so we can really focus on what makes this case so disturbing.
Yeah, and why people are still so captivated by it.
Why it sticks with us, you know?
Absolutely. And, I think it's that contrast that really gets people.
The death and the smile.
Yeah. Death, especially a violent death.
It's rarely peaceful.
Yeah, exactly. So when you see that smile,
It's not just unusual.
it's bizarre.
Yeah.
It makes you think there's something more going on,
Right, there's another layer.
more than just the killing itself.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning.
Right.
1978.
Okay.
That's when it all started.
It's Sarah McAllister,
Sarah McAllister. Yeah.
24-year-old
24-year-old found in an abandoned warehouse.
in the Midwest.
In the Midwest, yeah. And
Yeah.
she had been strangled.
Horrible.
Absolutely a horrific way to go.
But the thing is,
The smile.
the smile,
This peaceful smile on her face.
that's what really got to the investigators.
Yeah, they were shaken.
Understandably so.
Yeah, and it wasn't just a one-time thing.
Well,
This was just the first case.
the beginning.
Yeah, over the next 10 years,
Uh-huh.
similar cases started popping up
All over,
different states.
mostly women.
Yeah, women in their 20s and 30s.
Same cause of death
Strangulation and that same eerie smile
every time.
every single time.
It's like he wanted to leave his mark.
Yeah, that's a good point. That consistency.
Yeah.
It really suggests that the smile wasn't just some random thing.
No, it was intentional.
Yeah, part of the killer's MO.
Like a calling card almost.
Right, exactly. And it's so disturbing.
It is, because it just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And that's what makes it so fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so the investigators are looking at this,
They're baffled.
totally baffled, right? And they're trying to figure out,
How is this possible?
how is this smile achieved?
Right.
So initially,
Yeah.
they thought maybe it was some kind of physical manipulation.
Like after death.
Yeah, could the killer have moved the facial muscles?
Rigor mortis and all that?
Yeah, or maybe he used some kind of chemical.
Right. To create that
Just
expression.
some kind of drug or something.
Makes sense.
Right, it's a logical place to start.
But the forensics didn't add up.
Nope,
The toxicology reports.
it came back clean.
No drugs, no poisons,
Nothing that could explain that relaxed look on their faces.
and there were no signs of any tools or anything.
No forced manipulation.
Nothing.
So that was a dead end.
Which must have been so frustrating.
Yeah, for the forensic pathologist.
Totally. They hit a wall.
So what do?
They got to start thinking outside the box.
Right, so then the theories start to shift.
Towards the psychological.
Yeah, maybe this is all in the killer's head.
Right, like maybe he's got this deep knowledge of anatomy.
Okay.
Like maybe he was a doctor or a mortician or something.
Someone who really knows the body.
Yeah, who could manipulate it in a way that wouldn't leave a trace.
Right.
That's possible.
It is, yeah, but then there's another theory.
He's more unsettling.
Psychological manipulation.
Yeah, what if he was messing with their minds?
Like inducing some kind of euphoria right before they died.
Making them feel peaceful.
It's chilling.
It is.
But again, there's no evidence to support that.
Not on the victim side, at least.
Yeah, we're talking interviews with family and friends.
No history of drug use.
No mental health issues that could explain this.
So, we're back to square one.
We are. It's a complete puzzle.
Yeah, and that's what makes this case so difficult.
Right. We've got these two very different possibilities
The technical explanation,
versus the psychological one.
and neither one has any solid evidence.
Nope, it's a mystery.
A real head scratcher.
And of course, because of that smile,
Ah.
the media dubbed him The Smiling Killer.
Yeah, what a name.
It's a name that stuck.
It did, and it kind of took on a life of its own.
Right, it became the defining feature of the case.
Yeah, everyone knew about the Smiling Killer.
But it also felt like a taunt.
Aimed at the police.
Yeah, like he was saying, look what I can do, and you can't catch me.
Exactly, and, you know, that's not uncommon in these kinds of cases.
Serial killers like to leave their mark,
Yeah, it's like a signature,
a calling card,
and it's a way for them to control the narrative,
to communicate something.
however twisted that message might be.
Yeah, and in this case, that message is especially creepy.
The smile, it just clashes with the violence.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, so the police are on the hunt for this guy.
The Phantom,
They're pulling out all the stops,
task forces,
bringing in investigators from all over.
trying to find any connection between these seemingly random victims.
Yeah, and they're developing psychological profiling.
Trying to get inside the killer's head.
Figure out what makes him tick.
Right, so they're saying he's intelligent, meticulous,
Probably narcissistic.
definitely a planner.
Someone who's in control.
But despite all of that,
Dead ends.
so many dead ends.
The evidence just wasn't there.
No fingerprints.
No DNA.
Not at the time, anyway.
Yeah, DNA technology wasn't what it is today.
And no eyewitnesses.
No one saw anything.
And the worst part,
No connection between the victims.
they were from different backgrounds, different cities.
It's like he was picking them at random.
Almost. Which makes it even harder to profile him.
Yeah, it suggests that his motive was very personal,
Something internal,
not driven by a specific type of victim.
which is unusual.
It is in serial cases, it's much more common to see a pattern.
A type, but not here.
No, this guy was a ghost.
A phantom.
But then, in 1985,
Oh yeah,
they thought they had him.
Richard Langston,
Richard Langston, yeah.
a former mortician,
He fit the profile.
to a T,
And there was even a sketch.
from a witness who thought they saw him.
And it looked like him, so they had to investigate.
They did. They thought they had finally caught a break.
After all these years.
But the timeline didn't add up.
Yep.
Langston had alibis for several of the murders,
Solid alibis.
so they had to let him go.
What a disappointment.
I know, it's so frustrating to get so close.
And then have it all fall apart.
And that's what this case is all about.
Frustration.
Yeah, it's like trying to catch smoke.
You can't hold on to it.
And of course, that frustration spilled over into the public.
Yeah, when the police hit a wall.
People start coming up with their own theories.
That's only natural.
Right, everyone wants to solve the puzzle.
So, the Smiling Killer became a media sensation.
Books, documentaries, even fictionalized accounts.
Everyone was obsessed.
It is like a national pastime.
It's understandable though, right?
Yeah, when a case is this bizarre and unsettling,
It gets under your skin.
it makes you want to know more.
You crave answers.
Especially when those answers deal with the dark side of human nature.
Exactly. We want to understand what makes people do these things.
And so the theories started flying.
Right.
Some people thought the killer was some kind of artist.
Creating these macabre masterpieces.
Yeah, arranging the bodies, just so.
Like a twisted sculptor.
Others thought it was all about power and control.
A hatred of women.
And the smiles were a way of mocking them.
A final insult.
And then there were the supernatural theories.
Yeah, so people thought he had to be some kind of demon.
Possessed or something.
Because how else could you explain those smiles?
Right, it's like something out of a horror movie.
But that's the thing about unsolved mysteries.
They invite speculation,
People want to fill in the blanks.
especially when the official investigation stalls.
It's a way of making sense of the chaos.
Finding meaning in the madness.
But sometimes those theories can get pretty wild.
Yeah, but that's part of the fun.
Right.
Okay, so let's fast forward a bit.
To the present day,
Yeah, new technology, new hope.
especially in the field of forensics.
DNA technology has come a long way.
It's light years ahead of where it was in the 70s and 80s.
And that's given cold case units a new tool.
A powerful one.
They can now extract DNA from the tiniest samples
Things that were impossible to analyze before.
and compare it to massive databases.
Looking for familial matches.
So even if they don't have the killer's DNA directly,
They can find his relatives.
and that can lead them to him.
It's like connecting the dots.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It is. It's giving hope to a lot of families.
Who thought they'd never see justice?
Yeah. So it's possible that the Smiling Killer could still be caught.
It is. And then there's the podcast.
Oh yeah, Smiling in the Dark.
That came out in 2022.
Emily Carter.
She did a deep dive into this case.
She uncovered some new information.
Yeah, previously unreleased documents.
Interviews with retired detectives.
It was a huge hit,
It really brought the case back into the spotlight.
and it generated a ton of new tips,
People were calling in with information.
sharing their theories.
It was like the whole country was trying to solve the case.
It was. And even though it didn't lead to an arrest, it showed that people still care
That they haven't forgotten about these victims.
and that there's still hope.
That maybe one day we'll finally know the truth.
So here we are, all these years later.
Still asking the same questions.
Who was the smiling killer?
What made him do it?
Why the smiles?
We may never know.
But the mystery endures.
It does, and I think that's why we're still so fascinated by it.
Yeah, it's a reminder that there are still things in this world that we can't explain.
Things that defy logic.
And that maybe some things are best left unsolved.
Maybe some doors are better left closed.
Yeah, so as you go about your day,
Think about this.
what does our fascination with this case say about us?
About our need to understand the darkness.
About our fear of the unknown?
Maybe the answers are more disturbing than the questions themselves.
Yeah, maybe some mysteries are better left unexplored.
But we can't help but be drawn to them.
It's human nature,
To seek out the truth.
even if that truth is terrifying.
And that's what makes this case so compelling.
Yeah, it's a reminder that the world is a strange and wonderful place.
And that sometimes the most beautiful things can be the most dangerous.
And that's all the time we have for today.
Until next time,
Stay curious.
and keep those lights
You
on
never know what's lurking in the shadows.
out there
In the dark.
where the smiles hide.
Good night.
Sweet dreams.
And don't forget to smile.
You might be watching.
Okay, I'm kidding.
Not mine.
All right, we're done.
We're out of here.
See ya.